Hello everyone, welcome back to my complex heatmap video tutorials. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to adjust the heatmap size and also the labels. So you can use the heatmap width and also the heatmap height arguments to set the size of your heatmap. And the unit we can use centimeters. For demonstration, we can set the width and the height as 8 centimeters. So let's plot the heatmap. You can see we have a heatmap with 8 centimeters width and 8 centimeters height. So the argument heatmap width, heatmap height are different with just the width and height. The heatmap width and height set the heatmap size including the dendrogram, column names, row names, and also the legend. But if you use just the width and height arguments, then both arguments set the size of the body of all the cells. So let's demonstrate this one with the argument just the width and the height. You can see now the heatmap size is bigger because now the whole size of the heatmap actually is bigger than 8 centimeters width and 8 centimeters height. And also we can use the column dendrogram height and the row dendrogram width to set the height and the width for the dendrogram. So let's set the dendrogram height for the column as 4 centimeters and also 4 centimeters for the row dendrogram width. We can run the heatmap function again. You can see now the size for the row dendrogram and the column dendrogram is much bigger than the default settings. So one important thing you need to be aware, because the actually figure size is bigger than the size that we set for the heatmap. For example, here we can set the heatmap width and height as 8 centimeters again here, and we plot it as HT heatmap. Then we can draw the heatmap. You can see now we set the width and the height as 8 centimeters, but you can see blank area around the heatmap. So when you download the figures for publication, the figure size actually include the blank area. So we can use the width and the height function to see the actual size for the figure. If we run the width, you can see the actual size for the figure is around 9.5 centimeters, and then the height. So the height is around 8.3 centimeters. So your figure size will be bigger than the size we set here. This is something you need to be aware of when you want to save the figure for your presentation or publication. So next I'm going to show you how to adjust the labels around the heatmap. So here is the default setting for the labels. You can see the column dendrogram is on the top, row dendrogram is on the left, column names are at the bottom, and the row names are on the right hand side. So you can use the 4 arguments here: row names side, column name side, and row names dendrogram side, column dendrogram side, to switch the position of the column names, row names, and the dendrograms to your favorite position. For demonstration, we can switch row names to left hand side, the row dendrogram to the right hand side, we can also switch the column names and the column dendrogram. So if we run the heat map, you can see now the row names are on the left hand side, column names are on the top, and now the dendrograms are on the right hand side and at the bottom. We can also use the row and the column arguments to turn off the clustering and also hide the dendrogram. If we use the cluster rows false, then we will turn off the clustering, and also we don't show the row dendrogram. So let's run. You can see we turn off the row dendrogram. Now the row names actually are in order from 1 to 18. So if you use the cluster row false, then the data clustering was not performed when we plotted the heat map. If you use show row names false, we will hide the row. Oh, actually here is the names, not the dendrogram. Let's change it. So we can run the show names false now. So you can see we hide the row names, but in this argument, we still performed the clustering for the row data. So we can do the same for the column clustering. If we use the argument cluster column false, you can see we don't show the column dendrogram, and also now the column names are in order from 1 to 24. We can also hide the column dendrogram. Actually here should be dendrogram. Let's change it. So let's run. You can see now we hide the column dendrogram, but for the column names you can see they are not in order. So that means we still perform the data clustering when we run the heat map function. So we can use the row names GP and the column names GP to change the font size for the row names and the column names. Let's do a demonstration. You can see now the row names is bigger, and for the column names you can see it is the same. We have much bigger size for the column names. And also you can set a different color for the column names or row names. For example, we can set the first 10 row names as red color, then the rest 8 row names as blue color. Let's run. You can see row 1 to row 10 are in red color, and from row 11 to row 18 they are in blue color. We can do the same for the column names. Because we have 24 column names, we can set the rest 6 columns as green color. Let's run. You can see column names from 1 to 10 are in red, 11 to 18 are in blue, and the rest are in green color. For the position of the row names, you can use the row names centered argument to place the column names and the row names in the centered position. Let's run. You can see now they are in the centered position, but actually I prefer the default settings. And also you can change the angle for the column names. We can use the column names rotate argument if we set the 45 degrees. Let's run. You can see the column names are in 45 degrees. And also we can set the column names at 45 degrees and switch the column names to the top. So the default setting for the column names and the row names are 6 centimeters, so which should be big enough for most column names and the row names. In case you have very long column names or row names, we can do a demonstration to show you how to change the settings. So let's set the matrix data as mat2. Then we can change the row names for the row 1, and to a very long name we can use the paste function to put the small letters and the capital letters together. In this case we will generate a row name have 52 letters. So let's run. We can have a look at the mat2. You can see we have a long name for the row 1. It has 52 letters in total. So now if we run the Heatmap with the default settings, the width is not enough for the row names. Let's run. Okay, you can see the row names for the row 1 is very long. We can zoom in. You can see with the default settings 6 centimeters, it is not wide enough to show the full names. So we need to adjust the width for the row names in order to show the full names. So we can use the maximum text width function to calculate the space we need for the row names. Then we can set this width as the row name's maximum width. In this way we will be able to show the full names for the row 1, and we set the font size as 12. If we run it now and we zoom in, now you can see the full names of row 1 until the capital letter Z. So the maximum text width function calculates the distance from small letter A to capital letter Z, then decide how much space we should allocate for the row names. This is just for a demonstration. I don't think you will have such long row names or column names to show in your Heatmap. So next I'm going to show you how to set the row names and the column names. Use the row labels and the column labels. There are several advantages to do this. First, in this way you can change the row labels and the column names, but you don't change the row names and the column names in your matrix data. For example, if you want to plot your data set, sometimes the row names are labeled as gene IDs but not gene names, so we can use the gene names instead of gene IDs for the row names. Another advantage is that we can use duplicate names here for the Heatmap, but you know that duplicated names are not allowed for the matrix data for both row names and column names. So let me show you how to set the row names and the column names by row labels or column labels function. So we are going to use the meta dataset again. We have 18 rows. So we can set the row labels as small letters plus the order. That will be A1, B2, C3 for the row names. Let's set the row labels and we can have a look at the row labels. you can see now the row 1 is A1, row 2 is B2, until row 18 it is R18. And also we can do the same for the column names. We have 24 columns. Now we can use the capital letters. So let's set the column labels. And we can have a look at the column labels. You can see now the columns are shown by column 1, A1 to column 24 as X24. So now we can plot the heat map. Use the row labels as our row names and the column labels as the column names. Let's plot the heat map. You can see now we change the labels for both column names and row names. But if you look at the mathematics data, you can see the row names are still labeled as row 1 to row 18. Column names are still labeled as column 1. So we changed the row names and the column names on our heat map, but we didn't change the original row names and the column names in the matrix data. So use the row labels and the column labels function. You can also set the special letters for the row names and the column names. For example, we can set the alpha letters as row names. Let's do the demonstration. You can see now the row names were labeled as alpha letters. So I showed you how to set the basic settings to label the row names and the column names. If you fancy to make even more pretty labels, you can use the grid text package to change the settings for the row and the column names labeling. For example, we can set the row labels as letters 1 to 18. That will be A to R. And also we can put the padding around the letters. And you can set the padding in different color. For example, we can set the first in red, second in green. If we times 9, because we have 18 row names, it will be red, green, red, green. So let's run the heat map. You can see we generated the heat map. I set the class row as false because I want to show the letters in order. So let's zoom in. You can see we labeled the row names as letter A to R. And also we put a rectangle around each letter. You can see the color for the box. We set as red, green, red, green. You can use more colors if you like. Okay, I'm going to stop from here for today's demonstration. You can see it is very easy to change all the settings and the labels, but you just need to know which argument is available for you to change the settings. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't to do so, and I hope to see you in my next video tutorial.